Morning student. Today we will discuss the topic organizational structure. As I already given a chart that consists of complete topic relating to this chapter. Out of that we have completed our two topics. Now today we will discuss the third topic, that is organizational structure. First of all, what do you mean by organizational structure? It refers to the framework within which managerial and operational tasks are performed. Or you can say that it is a network of job, position and responsibility and authority at different levels, and it specifies the relation between people who are the boss, who are the subordinate, who will work under whom, work and resources. And here span of management gives shape to organizational structure. Then what do you mean by span of management? Span of management can may be defined as the number of subordinate that can be effectively managed by superior. And this will be very there are two types of span of management: wider span of management and narrow span of management. Here this you can understood with the help of the diagram. Here it is given in the sales department of organization, wherein the sales manager has 10 salesmen working directly under him. A wide structure like this is set up on the belief that sales manager is a very experienced person. That is why under him 10 salesmen are given, and he can effectively manage all the salesmen. And also the same time the salesmen are well versed with the various aspects of the job and do not require close supervision. So if see the diagram here, at the top sales manager is the at the top, he is the superior of all 10 salesmen. He can effectively managing or manage the 10 salesmen just because he is a very experienced person. And secondly, salesmen are also knowing their duty, knowing their job authority as well as responsibility, so they don't need any close supervision. So in that environment you can see there is a wider span of management. And in case of second type of second situation, that is a narrow span of management. What do you mean by this? If suppose there are new salesmen and they to work in close coordination with the sales executive, time to time he needs instructions, time to time he needs guidelines. So for this only there are two sales executive in the organizational structure, and consequently the label number of label in the organization structure also have increased. See, at the top there is a sales manager, and under him there are two sales executive. Means sales manager will effectively handle the two sales executive, and the in one sales executive there are 5 salesmen working under him, and in the second salesman also, sales executive also, 5 salesmen are working. So this is where this type of narrow span of management is required, that organizational structure is required, where there are a close supervision is required, proper guideline are to be given time to time. Salesmen are new in this environment, they are not well versed with the working culture and their job. So time to time on regular basis they need a close supervision of the sales executive. So there we can see this narrow span of management. I think the meaning of span of management is clear to you. That is a number of subordinate under one superior. That is called span of management. So sometime objective type questions are asked. What do you mean by span of management? What do you mean by narrow span of management? And that wide span of management. Now moving to the next topic, how many types of organizational structures are there? As per class 12 syllabus, we have to cover the two structure, that is functional structure and divisional structure. And every organization is likely to adopt an organizational structure keeping in view the nature and types of activities to be carried out for accomplishing its objective. So what main thing you have to consider while selecting the structure? First is what is the nature of business and what type of activities are to be undertaken. Accordingly you will select the organizational structure, and it is classified under two types. First is functional structure and divisional structure. See here the diagram is denoted by arrow, functional and divisional. Now we will discuss today in detail about the functional structure, its meaning, and where it is suitable, this type of structure suitability, where it is suitable, its advantages and disadvantages. So these topic we are going to discuss today in this video. First is, what do you mean by functional structure? That it refers to grouping of job of similar nature under one department. As we have already discussed the various steps of organizing, we have to group the total task in departments. So all the related activities of individual departments kept under one head. So all related and similar functions are grouped in one department, and there is a one head, one in charge of that department. Like for example, in a manufacturing enterprises, all the jobs relating to production are grouped in production department. Job related to purchases in purchase department, job related to finance under finance department, and job related to sales under marketing department. So there are the division of work on the basis of the function performed. These functions, the department may be further divided into sections also. So we can see this type of structure in companies like Britannia Industries, Bata, Maruti Udyog, Modi Xerox, etc. There you can find this type of structure. See, this is the diagram shown. There is a managing director, and under managing director there are 4 departments running, and every department having one in charge, that is a production manager, purchase manager, finance manager and marketing manager. So this is the way the structure is created, and all the activities relating to production is looked after by the production manager. And similarly the activities relating to purchase, like purchase of raw material, who will be the supplier, and or what will be the term and conditions of the purchasing, this all activities are to be undertaken by the purchase department, and that is the head of that department is purchase manager. And relating to finance, what discount should be given, related to cash flow, inflow, outflow, which department is needed more fund, where the money should be invested, all these activities is to be looked after by the finance manager. And marketing, that what strategy we have to follow to increase the sales turnover, what kind of product is demanded by the consumers, all these informations are collected by the marketing manager. And to achieve the sales turnover, marketing manager is responsible, and he will initiate all the activities. He will motivate his subordinate to increase the sales turnover. So these all are the various activities are grouped under a department that we have already discussed, departmentalizations. So there are the separate departments, and each departments are responsible for their own work and to achieve their own objective. And ultimately, if all the departments are successfully performing and they are achieving their goal, that leads to ultimate achievement of the goals of organization. So this is what about the structure. And now what here, this is the chart I am showing what topic we are going to discuss relating to this functional structure. First of all, its suitability. In which type of organization this type of structure is suitable? First, it is suitable for large organizations. If the organization is very big, so there is a separate department for different kinds of activities. And secondly, in case of diversified activities in the organizations, so lots of activities are undertaken, so that there is a need to separate the department on the basis of the activities that are grouped in one department. So there this structure is needed. And if in case a task require high degree of specialization, means that an individual should focus only on the marketing activities. He should not take the headache whether how the production will take place, what kind of raw material is should be used. So this is all activities are divided in different department, and each department is responsible for their own particular work. Like marketing department only focus on to increase the sales turnover. Production department will focus only on undertaking the various production activities, and complete the unit on time, supply the unit on time. And thirdly, and purchase department only responsible for checking the quality of the product, make available the raw material to the production department on time. So these all then these they are specialized in their job, and this due to this need of a specialization work, this structure is needed. And now we will discuss the various advantages if we will work under this structure. What kind of advantages we can achieve? First is functional specialization. Each department head are specialized, and even under subordinate they are repeatedly performing the same work again and again, so they are specialized in their activities. And secondly, effective control and coordination. Each in charges are responsible to look after their subordinate effectively, and there is a possibility of coordination also. Each departments are coordinated. Suppose marketing department is aware about the taste and preferences of the consumer, he just communicate that marketing in charge communicate to the production in charge what kind of products are demanded in the market. Accordingly, the production is taking place, and what kind of raw material is required to manufacture that particular commodity. Then production manager communicate to the purchase department to purchase that particular specific type of raw material. So there is a proper coordinations, as we have already discussed the one communication channel in scalar chain, that is that we have discussed ki, at the same level, that what was that gangplank. Gangplank was the one of the way, if at the same level of personnel can communicate to each other. So this leads to the coordination in the different departments. and that leads to improve the efficiency also, because repeatedly doing the same work again and again, that leads to specialization and make the employees efficient. Avoid duplication, as the work is divided and grouped under the department, so there is no chance of overlapping and duplication of job. And easy in training, where the training is needed to the employee, in which department training, whether the workers are inefficient, it can easily be detected, and accordingly the training is provided to make the employees or workers efficient. And proper attention also can be possible, because each in charge are responsible for their activity, their performance, and the subordinates working under him, he is supervising, so proper attention is also possible. And then we will discuss disadvantages is also there. Functional empire means each department will think that they are performing and to achieve their own objective, individual objective of department, that may leads to arise in the conflict among the various departments. Suppose marketing department demands that by providing large percentage of discount to the consumer, that leads to increase the sales turnover, and for this finance department opposes it, so that leads to a rising of conflict also. And difficulty in coordination, similarly there is a conflict arises, that conflict of interest, both are having their personal interests, so conflict situation exists. And inflexibility, as they are working according to the in charge in order and instructions, so they cannot use their own creativity, and difficult to hold accountable. And if suppose organization is not achieving the overall goal, then to whom give the who is accountable and who is responsible for this failure, it is very difficult to pinpoint. So let us discuss the same topic in details one by one once again here. As already I have shown you the structure, now see where it is suitable, that I already explained. In the large organization where the activities are of diverse nature, and there is, if the high degree of specialization is required. Now advantages, as I already explained, let us see the notes. You can write the notes in your BST copy. First is functional specialization, that it promotes specialization since each department has to perform a specific function. And as employee perform similar tasks within a department, it improves their efficiency and they are able to gain specialization. That repeatedly doing a same work again and again, it leads to specialization. Now is the effective control and coordination, as it promotes control and coordination within a department due to similarity of task performed, so it is very easy to effectively control and coordinate also to among the subordinates. And improper improves efficiency, like expert and experienced officers are specially appointed for each functional department, and it helps in increasing managerial and operational efficiency, and this results in increased profit. So this is also one of the benefit. And then is avoid duplication. How it helps in avoiding duplication of efforts, that which leads to economies of scale. At this time, this term we are come across number of time, that and reduce the cost of production, means it is totally clearly stated work is assigned to each department, so there is no chance of duplication or doing the same work by the two persons, so that leads to reduce the cost of production also. And next is easy in training. It makes training of employees easier, as focus is only on limited range of skills, so each in charges are just supervising the limited number of subordinate, and where the training is required, it is very easy to point out. And proper attention, like functional structure ensures that different functions get due attentions, because narrow span of management is here, so it is very easy to see or supervise their subordinate. So this is what the benefit. Now move to the next topic, disadvantage, like functional empire, that functional structure places less emphasis on overall enterprise's objective, that the objective persuaded by functional head. Each such practices lead to functional empires when departmental functions are given more importance. Pursuing departmental interest at the cost of organizational interest can also hinder the interaction between two or more departments. Means each departments are just focusing on their own goal, not overall organizational goal. So that also leads to hamper the objective of organization. Next is difficulty in coordination. It may cause problem in coordination as information has to exchange across different department. Means there is difficulty in coordination has to be exchanged, because without coordination, HR emphasis is giving emphasis on their own work, that leads to um, um, focusing on their own work, and the information has to be exchanged across different department, that leads to conflict between the two department. Like for example, and now move to the next point, that is a conflict of interest, that will be make it clear why this coordination is not possible, as may lead to conflict between two or more department if their interests are not compatible. As per their personal interest, other department is not agree. Like interdepartmental conflict also arises when responsibility are not clearly separated. Like for example, if sales department insists on a customer friendly design which is not acceptable to production department, then such disagreement is harmful for organization as a whole. And one more example, that marketing manager demands more discount to be given, and finance department is not agree on that point, because that leads to reduce the profit. So each department there is a lack of coordination leads to conflict. And inflexibility, that it may lead to inflexibility as employees get training of one functions only. As a result, people with same skill and knowledge base may develop a narrow perspective and may not appreciate others point of view. Means getting training of one functions means in each department they are only restricted to that particular activity, and that may develop a narrow prospect and may not appreciate the others point of view. So these all are the demerits of this functional structure, and functional heads are not trained for top management position, as they are unable to gather experience in diverse areas. Not trained for top management positions, and as a result people cannot be shifted to other departments or positions. Means suppose in under production department, if there is a surplus of subordinate, so they cannot be shifted to other department where there is a shortage of manpower. So that is why if there is a inflexibility, one person cannot be transferred to another department. Now difficult to hold accountable, it becomes difficult to hold a particular department accountable if the organizational goal is not achieved. means if goal is not achieved, which department is responsible for non achievement of the goal, it is very difficult to point out. Suppose if a company has not achieved the sales target, then it is not certain whether the failure is due to production department or the sales department, where whether there is due to use of inferior quality of raw material, the product is not demanded by the consumer, or the initiative taken by the sales manager was not effective. So this is very difficult to give the responsibility to a particular organization, and sales the department may blame production for poor quality, production output may pass blame on purchase for low quality raw material, and purchase may due to less finance given by finance department. So this is just passing on their blaming to the other department, and ultimately it hampers the organizational goal. So this is what we have discussed, the various point under main point, and I also explained the detailed of each point. So your work is to write down the notes in your BST copy and be thorough with each topic, and this is all about the topic organizational structure. Thank you so much and take care.